They call it patriotism, but we call it what it is: pure, unfiltered bullshit. Welcome to Bluebird on Your Shoulder, where we cut through the MAGA madness with brutal honesty and zero apologies. No sugarcoating, no fake civility, just three guys, middle-aged and pissed off, breaking down the absurdity of right-wing delusion one episode at a time. If you think America deserves better than conspiracy theories and cult worship, you're in the right place. Liberal? Hell yes. Woke? Not a chance. We're here to roast the madness, expose the lies, and call out the grift. Because the only thing worse than MAGA's nonsense is pretending it makes sense. New episodes every week. Buckle up.
It's Bluebird on your shoulder, live on location from sunny nighttime Miami. Still hot though. I'm melting down here. So 85 degrees in the morning is great. I'm not melting as bad as Donald the Taco Trump is melting. He was pretty upset this week when I don't know who started the taco meme, but somebody on the internet started a taco meme, and it stands for Trump always chickens out.
Huh.
And it was about him reducing his tariffs and yes, tariff, no tariff, yes, tariff, no tariff, yes, tariff, no tariff, which I won't get into how I think this is actually a Ponzi scheme for the stock market that he can force the prices. Yeah, he's manipulating the market to get 100%. In and get out. But not on that. Then a reporter actually asked him
about taco.
About
oh yeah,
how do you feel that they're calling you taco? And this man
he got salty. He said, "What a nasty question."
What a he really doesn't like to be questioned by anything that is negative or not positively. And he's such a classic narcissist.
Yeah,
so classic. But yeah, he did that, and then we have the court stepping in, the trade court. I don't even know what this court is. I didn't have enough time to research it, but they stepped in yesterday late, which it was really funny that they didn't hand the ruling down until after the market closed. And they said that they're actually staying all of his tariffs except for steel, aluminum, auto, and there was one other in that list because those were actually done under a different law where it was legal for him to do that. Mm-hmm. And they're saying him using FDR's reciprocal tariff law doesn't apply in this situation. It doesn't give you carte blanche to just do that. So then the tariffs got paused, which is when the taco really became popular. And then they appealed, and the appeals court actually right after the market closed today, they came and stayed the original ruling and asked for written arguments from both sides within 30 days.
And it was the U.S. Court of International Trade.
Yeah, there we go. I didn't even know this court existed. But I do know that there, it's liberal judge this and activist judge this and activist judge that.
One was a Reagan, one was a Trump, and one was a Obama.
I knew one was a Reagan and one was a Trump, and I knew it was only a 3-person panel. So how are they liberal judges? Yeah. So I guess one was an Obama, so there's a liberal judge, right? But I did see some.
Oh, they're all liberal if they go against him. Just asking.
Well, yeah. No, ask them, not him. I don't think he knows. But they're really warring against the judicial pretty hard. That's a very Timu Grobel's there. That's his thing, dude. That man really does look like a fucking penis. So he goes hard on these judges. Are going to wipe out democracy, and they're going to end democracy if they continue to allow it. And I have started to see some fracturing in the right, especially the congressional. Whether they're openly saying it or not, their actions are kind of supporting the fact that they're not really down for this. I've openly seen a couple come out and say, look, like, we're the party of law and order. What do you mean? Like, you're just trying to ignore an equal branch, a third of our government, like a third of the setup. And they're saying that the dumb ones, which are a majority of the people on Twitter, are saying, well, that was SCOTUS only. Well, you're right. When the Constitution was written, it was only SCOTUS. But then it gave Congress the ability to have oversight on the judicial and do what they want with the judicial, and then they created this entire judicial.
Oh yeah,
so the
especially when our
second branch of
population blew up.
right. So the second branch of government added more to the third branch of government to continue the correct checks and balances on the first branch of government. So it's actually, the system is, oddly enough, as much as they're railing against the machine, it's working as intended. For the most part, they're listening to the orders. They're really mad right now that they did.
They're listening as far as, you know, when they're not able to use an excuse that, you know, that a judge will accept, you know, when it comes to getting people back from, you know,
El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Concentration
No,
camps.
so the one I saw today, maybe today, a couple of days ago. So it was the one where they were sending the Koreans, and we talked about this last week, and they're sending them to South Sudan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the judge was like, "I'll fucking arrest you."
Yeah.
I'll throw you. Like, the judge flat out was like, "I'll throw you in fucking jail." So they actually landed the plane. And it's over there somewhere. We don't know exactly where it is, but the ICE agents are stuck with these people.
Yeah.
Guarding them in a non-secure area because they said, "Okay, cool, we landed the plane."
Yeah.
Because they realized the judge was really going to put them in jail. Like, I think judges are kind of sick of it. Like, SCOTUS.
Well, yeah, because they got better things to do with their day other than this bullshit.
Yeah, well,
it's so blatantly illegal.
They're hammering the DOJ. Like, there's that one kid that, like, he's being sent to most of these, and he is just getting eviscerated by these judges.
Yeah, he is, dude. They're so unqualified.
Yeah, but it's like, who would the judge put in jail though? Because they're not going to put Trump in jail.
No, they can't put Trump in jail. They're going to put the lawyers in jail.
They'll hold the DOJ
they'll put the whole fucking DOJ in jail.
No.
Like, they're not going to do this. And he's just taking loss after loss after loss in SCOTUS.
Yeah.
Like, SCOTUS is even to the point where, like, we're not even going to fucking listen to this.
Yep.
7-2. No, fuck off.
Right.
Like, don't bring this if this isn't for us. Move on. You know what I'm saying? Go back here, do this, leave us alone. 9-0 this, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2. And the two vote Republicans highly voting against you, you fucking nominated.
Yeah.
Both Kavanaugh and Coney.
Yeah, and I mean, guilty as charged. I definitely thought with him packing the court like that he would, because of how they were acting back then, that he'd get to do whatever he wanted because they seemed to favor. But I mean, they seem to be accurately doing their job.
Well, and Kavanaugh, like, right out the gate, you know, he made some, you know, he started speaking more like Supreme Court justice than he was, you know, that bullshit in committee and whatnot, where he was just dancing around, you know, his horrible life that he lived before becoming SCOTUS. So, you know, and then Coney Barrett, like, everybody expected her to be all, you know, 100% pro-life, and like everything that came down the pike that way she was gonna be an automatic go. But
I think she is, right? I think she is pro-life.
She
but the
is,
law
but
isn't.
Right, exactly right. Yeah,
and
she
that's
actually is doing her job.
I mean, if we really, really want to boil it down, I'm prefer life.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you that I have a right to tell you what you. At the end of the day, I'm pro-choice because it's none of my fucking business.
Right. Exactly right.
And it's not my body. It's not my shit. Right. Like, I don't even like telling my old lady what color her hair should be because she asks me all the time, "What color should I dye my hair?" I don't care. It's not my hair. Well, I don't have any, but when I did,
like, I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like, or what, you know, but I'm not going to tell you what it has to be.
I just don't even do that. Like, if you want to know, like, if the outfit's cute, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But, like, should I get this tattoo, or should I get this piercing, or should I dye my hair this color, or should I, you know, anything to do with the actual body itself?
Right.
It's not my body. Do
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
you want with it. And like the kid, sure, I'll tell him no until he's, and then at 18, fuck,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck you want to do, bro.
Well,
And
and you know, that part, a lot of that has to do with, you know, shielding them from, you know, those authority figures that have that ability to rule on him at this point, you know, at school and things like that. That was I was actually going to mention, you know, SCOTUS declined to pick up a case about a kid that, you know, tried to wear, you know, something horrible on a t-shirt to school and claimed that his right to free speech was being infringed by
yeah,
the
that was
by
7-2 as well.
yeah, and they did,
So
and that was to not pick it up. Like that wasn't
correct.
a ruling. That was
Yeah.
just we're
No,
not even
it was,
7 of
yeah,
us
it was
said we're
seven
not
two.
picking
Fuck
it
off.
up. Yeah. Yep.
This is bullshit. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like this isn't even worth our time.
Yeah. How I don't
Um,
like those types of votes just tell you that they're signaling to other courts like this should never have even come up to us.
Yeah,
Like
when it's that overwhelming, you know,
yeah.
I mean, at 7-2, it may as well be 8-1-9-0. Like,
Yeah.
no, it is. I mean, 7-2 with John Roberts, an interesting case. I think he does lean right, but I think he is more of a true centrist. Um, he does lean right, and he definitely leaned more right when he was younger.
Yeah.
So, but I think he's pretty close to a true centrist. I mean, I think the only maybe true centrist we ever had was Day O'Connor.
Yeah.
She was pretty fucking centrist.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, you have three Republicans consistent ruling against you, and
yeah.
it's because it's rigged and because they're liberal activists now. Like, no, it's because, well, how come Obama only 14 times, and how come Biden only 17 times, and how come George Bush only 12 times? Well, because they didn't do illegal shit all the time.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the same
You
thing as them saying, well, this has never happened to a president before, so why? Because their other presidents weren't breaking the law.
Yeah, they were
Yeah, because
qualified and they knew how to use the system that they had in place. They used lawyers to write the bills. They used, you know, correct language in order to define what it was that they were doing. He's just writing shit down like Liberation Day, we're gonna tax everybody. And like that's not how it works.
right,
Yeah,
because
well, and I
because
mean,
FDR said reciprocal, so he said reciprocal, so it's good.
Right.
I mean, as far as like you said, like because they were qualified, like yeah, they went to law school, they studied constitutional law. Like this guy is literally, you call him a business mogul, whatever, reality star, con artist, spoon fed, but he's not qualified in the sense that he doesn't know, like you said, how the processes work. You know,
Well,
like,
and
let alone the whole
and
system. Like,
he
it's
doesn't
no different.
surround
Like, oh,
himself
we're gonna
with
put a
people that do.
reality star or a business person in charge of our country and our military is like saying, oh, I'm gonna let the 7-year-old watch my newborn infant because they used to be a baby once.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good analogy. I think it's really interesting that you elect a felon con man, and then he does felon con man shit, and then the
Yeah.
law says no. That's
Right.
not a novel fucking concept here.
Right.
Also, I will forever go to this. The man bankrupted a casino.
Right.
4 times.
How the fuck do you bankrupt a casino? The house
It's
has
literally
like,
the best business model to make money.
dude, the house has like a 72% edge
Mhm.
overall in
Yeah.
casinos. The best table game is 50.5 to the house, and that's baccarat.
Right. Yeah.
It's still edge to the house. If you play long enough, the house will win. If you're not playing Texas Hold'em, the casino will take your money in the long run.
Right.
So, and you bankrupted that? Like, how fucking do you have to be to bankrupt a fucking casino. Like, I have no idea how to run a casino, but I bet I wouldn't bankrupt it.
Bet you wouldn't either.
So
I mean,
because
you know how to run a bar, so and that's basically all it is a bar that, has money thrown at it
light,
for
sounds,
more than
and
just alcohol,
jingles. So, but no, but it is an interesting full frontal attack from his administration on the judicial. One of the most interesting people in the administration, like low key, has become interesting. Is I don't remember, dude. Nome, is that her name? Is that how you pronounce it? Nome. She was from what, South Dakota, North Dakota, South Dakota.
Nomi?
No, I don't know. She shot her dog. That's what I know.
Oh.
But a long time ago, it's in a book. She wrote it in a book. She shot a puppy or something. She's the Homeland Security lady, Christy Nome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she shot. Yeah. If you want to do some research on that, she shot her dog. There's probably a good reason for it. The liberals just say she shot her dog. I didn't really go any deeper into that, but she put it in the book. I can't just see somebody writing the book and feel like, oh yeah, this one time I shot my dog. Unless it was like, clinical pathology of a psychopath, then I can see it. But she keeps going to do all these photo shoots and all these weird situations. Like it appears that the only reason she's there is to do a photo shoot. Like she went on an ice raid with a Chanel high heels.
Yeah.
She had the
lady that was interrogated by the what committee was that? And she didn't even know the law.
Oh yeah. No. Oh, the one that cried.
Yeah.
The habeas corpus.
Yes,
she didn't even know.
Yeah. Yes, the one that cried. That one.
Yes.
Then she went to like somewhere in the I think it was the Middle East, maybe Africa, and she got like photo op on a boat and photo op in a jail, and then she like went to the El Salvadorian prison, got a photo op, and it's just like that's all she seems to do. It's like photo op here, and photo op here. It's like she's the magazine cover of the administration. Like she's a pretty person. Don't get me wrong. She's an attractive female.
Same with their press secretary. What a Bondi? No. Is it Bondi?
Bondi.
Yeah.
No, Bondi is the attorney general. Yeah. The press secretary is KKK Caroline.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Caroline.
Who's married to like a 62-year-old. Yeah. So I'm not hating on that. I'm just saying like
make your money, girl.
She's dumb as a box of fucking rocks. So, but like. I thought at MTG and Bobert that we couldn't get any worse. And MTG, at least maybe somebody thinks she's good at her job because she's not pretty.
Yeah.
Like I said last time, she looks like, a fucking lesbian gym teacher.
I think that she was just really good at optimizing the messaging.
If you look at her district, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bobert, like, her district was pretty red, and she like actually ran on a different district this time around because she was going to lose.
Yeah.
And she moved to an even easier district to stay in. And I mean, that's hand job, Helen. So she was given the hand job in the Broadway show and then dating a dude who must have had a swangy dang. Yeah. And she was given a hand job during the Broadway show. And then they found out he was a liberal bar owner. And then she's like, I didn't know he was liberal. You're blowing him and you don't know he's a liberal? Like, okay, cool. But like, that's
what's worse is that was the qualification. Like, if she'd known, then it wouldn't have happened. But other than that, it was fine.
Yeah, right. Because he was probably schlang danging, bro. Like, that's all I gotta say. So, because she seemed that she was vaping in the hand job of Helen, dude. Like, she was 25 cents at the fucking Peep Show. But that's what she's pretty
God
too. I'm not gonna lie. She's pretty. She's a pretty person. And then her husband, like, he's a sex offender.
Yeah.
Like, he got caught flashing teenage girls at the bowling alley or something. Her son's a fucking degenerate, which I got nothing against degenerates. I was a one-time degenerate too. But he's a degenerate that, like, she's super Christian and pro-life, and like he knocked up a girl and then like D'd out on her. And it reminds me a lot of the Alaskan lady, Palin?
Yeah, Palin.
Like Bobert's family and her shit reminds me a lot of Palin and her family shit that happened, and it's always these very. But I don't understand.
But there's a party
going back to it. You're the director of Homeland Security, And you proved what you said in the committee. You don't know what your job is.
Yeah.
You don't know the
At
law
all.
surrounding your job at all.
I mean,
I
the
don't know
very
what her
basis of
job
the job starts at habeas corpus.
right.
Like,
I don't know
Yeah.
what her job is, but it does really seem like she's the 90s, Vogue cover girl, and that's her job, is to go take these photo shoots and be pretty. Then
well,
we
I mean,
have
like,
Bondi.
yeah, if
Her
it,
job's to go on
I
Fox
think
News
that
every day.
I think you're just seeing more of that because people are focused more on her looks. But like, um, our friend, his one of his high school friends was one of the top guys down at the border security, southern border, and you know, and so I got to see a lot of like the pictures and stuff that they were taking through our friend that would share them with me, and so the your heads of those departments, a lot of times that's what they do is they run around and they shake hands and babies and and make everybody.
I couldn't tell you one other director of Homeland Security. Not one. I can tell
So
you a few FBI guys, a few CIA guys or women. I can tell you a few of those. I can tell you all the vice presidents. I can tell you the presidents. I can tell you most secretaries of state.
I
But
have a challenge coin from one of the directors of Homeland Security, and
right,
I don't
and
even
you don't
remember
even
what
know
his
what the
name
fuck
was.
the name is, right?
Yeah,
Because he
right.
wasn't a vote mop. So then we got, Bondi, who she's I don't think she's done anything as Attorney General other than tweet and go on Fox News. Like
Well,
that's her job.
she's the one sending these, ridiculous lawyers to go and say, I don't know why we're trying to do this.
Because
Yeah.
she doesn't know either. I watch her on Fox News and they ask her the softball questions and she doesn't fucking know either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because nobody knows because Donald said so.
Yeah,
Well,
and
That's
yeah, and
literally
that's a
the
really
answer.
good point I was about to make is like I think it can be said best of the intellect of we'll just say MAGA right now. We won't even include normal Republicans because MAGA is essentially the one that's in charge. Because like you said, they're just regurgitating what daddy says.
right.
But I was in a conversation with a guy the other day and we got to talking about if the Constitution should be changed. And he said, no, it never should be changed. It wasn't written to be changed. Sir, do you know what an amendment is?
Mhm.
Like the one about that you're so staunch about your guns? That was
Yeah.
a change to the Constitution. Like they
There's
don't
an
even know.
amendment
They just
about
don't
making
know.
amendments.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one of those too.
Yeah. They just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think, and I mean, I did steal it from a movie. Um, had, God, who was that? Brendan Fraser was in it. It was about going to Harvard too. That was the best part.
Oh,
Brendan Fraser was in. I think it was Joe. Was it Joe? No, was it
no.
Pesci? It's one of the
No.
little guys. Anyway, it was called With Honors. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the dude was a bum, and he stole his thesis, right? Because and he would take him to class, and he took him to a Harvard lecture on constitutional, and the bum gets into an argument with the professor. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should check it
Yeah,
out.
I remember.
And in that argument, he says that what made the founders so great is that they knew they didn't know everything
Mhm.
and they knew the world would change and they left a way for it to be changed.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the argument between it being a living, breathing document and it being a static thing that conservatives
Right.
think that we should never deviate from.
Right.
And
So,
we've
And it's really just
deviated
because of
from
the
it.
guns.
Well, we've
really, yeah.
deviated from it for a really long amount of time. Like I think we're almost to the point where there's more amendments after the original than, I don't remember. So I know the 14th,
Yeah.
I know the 26th, all these were added. So where did it stop? The original document. It was more than 10, but it wasn't 15.
12.
Was it? I think it is 12. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is 12. But see, instead of
Those are the
just
Bill of Rights, which were ratified in 1791.
Right.
And then, let's see here.
AI will know. It knows everything. That's the other thing I've seen recently. So you brought
And
up
there's
Elon.
27 ratified amendments.
Right. So 27. And then there was only 10 or 12 originally.
12, yeah.
There was 12 originally, and there's 27 now. So we've changed it
more than
times than it was originally written.
Yep.
Right.
And their argument is it shouldn't be changed. Well,
Right.
then women can't vote.
Right.
African Americans aren't people.
Mm-hmm.
You have no due process. You can't remove the president for being fucking doot to doot. There's lots in there. That's it. I think that's a really good point that they argue against that. I also like in their arguments against sanity. That's what I call it. So Elon did step away from the government officially.
Bye, Elon.
It's official. He's been gone for a minute now. A lot of people didn't realize that. I don't know how, because you didn't see him on TV with his kid every fucking day anymore. But he was carrying around his child as a human shield. Now, the 10 times I've seen him since he left, unofficially, I haven't seen him with his kid. Interesting. Don't need the human shield anymore. So his company failed, but he's left officially, right? So he has created what is inarguably like OpenAI has done a really good job with ChatGPT. The Chinese have done a really good job with what do they call it? Deep Blue, something like that. And then Elon and X have created Grok. And I think that's like AI3. I don't remember what they call the company. So that is all of the experts agree that the system training Grok is the best. It's the biggest, fastest, most in depth, most right? Because he was truly firmly convinced, and he used to talk about it all the time, that if we train it fairly, it will actually lean right. Yeah, it didn't happen.
Well, of course not. Every study that has to do with what correlates with the way that a person leans politically has shown that the more intelligent you are, the more left-leaning you become, unless you are smart and trying to scam the system. Then you lean right. So if you're moral and smart, then you're gonna lean left. If you're smart and corrupt, then you will lean right. That has been shown across multiple studies.
Right. But it is really advanced now, and it's openly starting to talk about how they tried to make it lean right.
Yeah.
And like we're trying to recode it. And it's like, no, because it's not true. And its number one rule, like you ever watch iRobot, they have its number one rule is the truth matters more than anything.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's rejected their pushes. So now a commonplace in the Twitter land of dings is that AI isn't actually intelligent.
Of course, yeah.
AI is more intelligent than your entire fucking bloodline combined will ever be.
Yeah. So I actually just read this article today from it's like Business Insider. It's called Technology Insider.
Yeah.
They had an article out this morning that they predict within the next 5 to 10 years, AI will wipe out 20% of the workforce.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's been something that they've been talking about. One thing that I've read recently through a similar publication is that here pretty soon we're not going to be able to teach AI anything new ourselves.
Nope.
We're almost to the point where AI has ingested all of human knowledge and we won't be able to teach it anymore. It will be teaching us.
Wow.
Correct. I think that's actually probably very true. So I actually have scaled over the last 6 to 8 months. I started using it to teach me how to code, and it successfully did that. I can write in Python now. I've never coded a day in my life, and I can actually fairly effectively write Python code now because AI
Yeah.
taught
So
me.
okay. So saying that, what do you think's going to happen with people paying money to go to college to do that? It's not going to happen.
Well, so what's going to end up happening is, and it's already happening. One of my friends is a programmer, and they've already shifted him. He's an upper level programmer, so he makes sure that the code and the build works properly and looks for defects or weak spots in the coding, um, and then he's part of the release team when they actually finish a product, and he is already being pushed into learning how to use AI to do that for him. So there's still a lot that goes into getting the the AI system to do the task that you want it to do without it getting off track. It still needs that human guidance. So so right now the big push is, not to learn how to code, but to learn how to use AI to code for you.
It's 100% true because it isn't super effective yet in
Yeah.
doing that. I have to kind of screwball with it for a while. But what I was getting at is I do actually, in doing that, I was like, well, let me see how AI can help me in my job.
Mm-hmm.
AI knows more about this shit than I do, and I've been doing it for 31 years. And it's like, well, did you think about this? Well, actually, now that you said it,
No.
I should have because I know about that.
Yeah,
But no, I
yeah.
didn't think about applying that in this situation. But now that
Mm-hmm.
you said it, I'm gonna give that a shot. And it worked. And it actually just spit something out the other day. It was like, hey, should probably have this Excel thing. Um, it'll kind of help you keep track of this a little bit better. And I was like, well, it would, but I'm terrible with the Excel. It's like, no problem. Here you go.
Nice.
And it gave me an Excel template for exactly what it was telling me. And I was like, that makes because I'm terrible at Excel, right? And
Me
it was
too.
like,
Yeah.
but I knew that it was right that I could definitely use that, but I don't have the
Right.
Excel ability to create
Yeah.
that. So it was
Right.
like, you should use this. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know, but I'm a
Yeah.
dummy.
Excel's
No
great
problem.
if you know how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so in the AI knows how to use it way better than anybody on the planet, right? Like
Right.
it's
Right.
got all the cells turning colors for me and everything. Like, and it's like showing me how to make it pull the information manually if I just put a data set together and
Yep.
how to put a data set together from the data that I feed it. Because I like put our P&Ls in there and
Yeah.
it tracks and it tells me what trends to expect. So it started telling me trends at the beginning of the year, what it would look like in the second quarter. It's dead on
Nice.
because I've been 8 months of feeding it P&Ls every month
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
for
Yep.
each unit, and it's starting to notice the patterns, right?
Right.
And it's
Right.
like,
Right.
actually, bro, you were pretty cool. So it's really interesting. Then we moving back to Trump and away from it, I just think it's really interesting that when Elon left, he also now said that he doesn't see a need to continue donating to politics anymore.
Yeah. Any politics, and that was because he wanted to stay on at Tesla, because he pretty much ruined their brand, and he was starting to see an issue with it reflecting in X, Twitter as well. So when all of your largest investments, end up realizing that you misbranded them by doing this, then you're going to make adjustments. Not to mention, he's not seeing the ROI that he was promised with, defense contracts and things like that. So,
No,
Yep.
he's not because he became protest matters. And I have never agreed with keying people's cars and blowing up dealerships.
right,
You're
right.
not going to get me to say that was okay.
Yep.
But you will get me to say I understand what you were doing.
Right.
And now, unfortunately, I got to tell you, it worked.
Yeah, it was unfortunately that was very effective, but I think it was effective in its messaging, not in the content. So that's the thing that I think, to me, what the real point of that is that the the news cycle and media still has a lot of influence over how those things are perceived and how they are effective or not based on the coverage that those actions get. You know, it was a lot of very fast, very visceral coverage of it, and it was all directed directly at him. You know, they weren't beating around the bush. They were, you know, linking the two things together very quickly and effectively. And you know, people that want paid by his, you know, his brand and his representation of a company said, you better fix it right now. And so we did get to see the richest man in the world is still beholden to the people that he borrows money from and
The
the people
shareholders,
and the shareholders
Yeah.
that he represents. Yeah,
because capitalism, free market works. Free market socialism, in my opinion, is a little better.
sure.
So, because
I
there is free market socialism out there.
Yeah, well, it's you know, everything is a mix of itself. You know, the words I think are misrepresented. You know,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
so I think that I don't know that there is a free market because we give, you know, it's not even by any means. You know, corporate welfare is a very
It's
real
so
thing. You know,
manipulated, and yeah.
and
We're gonna do that episode soon.
right.
So we're definitely gonna do that. So over the last week, I took some time to do something really difficult. Um, so I used only scholarly sources.
Hmm.
Okay.
So this is no opinions, no media, no social media, no grifters, no influencers, um, none of that. Just solely scholarly, peer reviewed information.
Hmm.
And I broke down some parallels that I haven't talked about in a while. I used to talk about it a lot at the beginning of the podcast, and I did this because I'm seeing certain members of the administration really veering that way harder than I originally. Well, okay, they're doing exactly what I thought they were going to do. Not talking about Trump himself, not yet. So I'm gonna just lay them out here, and I'm not gonna like put titles on it. I'll talk about Trump when I need to. So in the past, there was a leader whose country was decimated and humiliated, um, and a lot of bad things happened because of that. And they came forward and said, "The world doesn't respect you anymore. They don't like you anymore, and I'm the only one who can bring us back to greatness, to glory, to winning." Trump says exactly the same thing numerous times, right?
Hmm.
Um,
You weren't talking
cultivating
about Trump?
cults, personality cults. No. Unique, near Masonic leadership abilities, right?
Hmm.
Both made singular claims that they alone could restore greatness to the nation.
Hmm.
Um, and they both come from a strong man posture, right? A strong man, like I'm the man, I'm the strong one, I'm what you need, I'm your backbone, I will fight for you. We will return to greatness.
Yep.
Both of them went to that, and both of them cast themselves as the outsider to the norm who could fix it, who could make it better. Uh,
Yep.
that's word for word verbatim Trump speeches, Trump rallies since 2015,
Yeah.
right? The whole MAGA slogan itself is based on that semblance. So it's inarguable that that exists,
Yeah.
right? Very nationalistic approach.
Hmm.
Very, you should love your country, you should be patriotic, your country's all that actually matters, your fellow citizens are all that matter, you should do anything in the world to protect them.
Hmm.
Your citizens are being poisoned, they're being poisoned through the blood. There's too many outsiders in your country. They're breeding with your people, they're killing your people, they're taking the jobs from your people, they're actually poisoning the bloodline of your country. They're not poisoning themselves, they're bringing their third world outsider views, outsider cultures, and they're destroying your culture, and they're
Yep.
destroying your race, and they're poisoning the blood. That was Trump's line. They're poisoning the blood. He talked about them being criminals and rapists and poisoning the blood and allegedly bringing all of the drugs and crime into America. Yep. It's the immigrants. This is what they're doing. And the other case, it wasn't presented as immigrancy. It was a population center that was already in existence in the country and around the area. But he's pointed this to, but they both said, one called it killing you by blood poisoning, and the other one said they're poisoning the blood.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing in different words. And if you don't believe me, there's plenty of clips of Trump saying it, and the other one wrote it in a book. I 10 out of 10 say you probably shouldn't read it, but you can if you want to. I have 3 times. So repeatedly characterizes immigrants and refugees as dangerous invaders, and that's happening even more now. This is why he needs to deport them, why he shouldn't give them due process, why he shouldn't do this. It's because they're dangerous. They're a threat. They're a threat to the American culture. So it's that nationalistic ploy and a racial ploy all at the same time. They don't openly talk about that. And then both validated fears. So there is a sect of both countries that were afraid. They were afraid because in their eyes and their opinions, the country wasn't the same anymore. And in both ways.
And the economic situation in both instances was
poor.
Great. Yeah.
Or not what they were accustomed to.
Yeah, right.
Not
right.
Not poor, but not what they were. It was very poor in one scenario, not what they were accustomed to in our scenario. But they definitely have validated those fears by blaming all of those societal ills on the outgroups. Right. Like this is Appalachia happened. So ethnic and cultural diversity has portrayed vulnerable groups as unworthy of belonging to the body of the politics. They should not have a right to tell white American citizens what they should think and how they should act and what foods they should eat and what jobs they should work. And they're going to kill all of the people because, like the most recent, the Texas jet ski, 2 illegals, jet ski, killed a woman. It happened in Reese Ferry, like in the last few days. So now it's like, see, they kill everybody. Where's her due process? So like, there's like 10 now. And in that same time frame, like 300 have been killed by white men, but we don't want to talk about that part. Right. So because, well, we won't even get into that part. Right. So it's a very us versus them to galvanize the base. Right. It's not divisiveness. It's us versus them. It's creating the enemy on the other side, right? Very incendiary demagogic rhetoric, right? That broke conventional political norms. It wasn't status quo in politics. All politicians lie. We'll all agree to that. All politicians feed us bullshit. But there was a line in the sand for a very long time in this country where that had to stop.
Yeah.
And when all of the past presidents, which we've talked about, that's a small number of people historically. Very few people in the population that has existed in the same time frame have ever done this job. They all came together who they never really truly liked each other politically because they're on opposite sides and they have different beliefs. McCain said it best. We don't always agree, but he's a good man.
Yeah.
So we didn't go that far because they are good people. So now we have this person who isn't a good person.
Right.
And now he has went that
blatantly
far.
outright not.
Right. So, and then the dehumanizing language comes in. Right. Where we talk about them as parasites.
Yeah.
Was the historical one. They're parasites. They'll annihilate our culture. Those were the words used. Trump uses the words that they were animals and that they're eating your animals. They're not human. They eat your pets. Right. These were not necessarily originally his words, but he took it from his base because he had started moving the base to where the base started thinking in the right way. So now that base is starting to spiral in that world where they're coming up with the rhetoric to fight against the immigrants. Right. So it's working. Very often when they speak, they don't talk about policy.
Almost never.
There's no conversation about policy. very much on emotional appeal. Very common phrases, pick me behavior. Very emotionally driven words, phrases. They want you to feel, not think.
Fear,
Because
anger. Yep.
Right. Feelings, emotions. That's what I want to do. Performance artists, right? It's a Broadway show. It's a server at a table who doesn't really like you, but you think that they think you're the greatest person ever, right? It's performance art, right? It's not real, it's not true. It's a means to an end. Servers do it so you give them their money. So
in a way, and kind of in a sick way, it's really good leadership.
Right. And it is in a weird way, yes. One of the other things they do
in
is,
the sense that they can quote unquote rally the troops.
Go ahead.
So I have to push back on that. A good leader leads by example and by being at the front. A bad leader like this gets you angry and riled up, and then just sends you out to die or to to destroy whatever target it is without thought. So
okay, let me rephrase what I said then. Let me rephrase what I said then. It's not good leadership. It's a good quality to have to be a good leader. Not saying that their cause is good, but to be able to get your people to react in that way and support you is, I would say, is definitely a good leadership quality.
It's an attribute you want, right? Yeah. I mean, the way in which you get that that willingness to follow you is what
I think I agree with what you're saying, but in these scenarios, they used the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Correct. That's what I said in a sick way, but
yeah, I mean, charisma is something that, I mean, in D&D we rolled for that attribute because it does have a place in what we do. So charisma is something that you want, but if you use it in order to enrich yourself or in order to lie and deceive, then at that point, you're using a strength for evil.
Yeah, so and I mean, I guess at least in our lifetime, we have, I'd say for the most part, elected charismatic presidents. I mean,
I mean, Obama was one of the most charismatic.
Obama, Clinton, Trump, there's three right off the top in our lifetime. That
Kennedy,
very charismatic, popular. So Kennedy for sure. But yeah, so they both also had a really good ability to provoke outrage and dominate media.
Yeah.
They use outrageous statements to get the media to talk about them.
Yeah.
And both of them were masters of that, right? And then that extremist behavior had a dual effect, right? It fires up the base, right? Gets them all and it forces your opponents to react.
Right.
Because they can't let that go. They can't just let you say that. And we saw liberals fall victim to Trump for that all the way until the Kamala
today.
Liberals pretty much don't respond too much anymore. Like liberal voters do, but political people, they've kind of stopped because I think they realize what's happening, right? He's done a really good job. Then it's a cultivation of that victimhood and grievance, right? The collective grievance and the victimhood amongst the dominant group.
Right.
They both were masters of making the dominant majority feel like a minority, feel like a victim of power structures that they're actually in control of.
Right.
The dominant group is in that, right? The narrative that the true, real Americans are the real victims and you were betrayed by the liberals.
That's what the South did when they talked the general population into seceding as well. Yeah.
Right. Reclaim the honor.
Yeah.
Reclaim the honor of the country. Reclaim the honor of the majority.
Yep.
So
solidify that nationalism.
Right. So in Trump, it's reclaim the white rural blue blood American is what we would have called them growing up, right? Reclaim that blue blood American where you pledge allegiance to the flag and you were allowed to have God in school and you could beat your kids and right. We go into all of that, right? He doesn't say it like that, but that's what he goes into, right? And then to take our country back.
Yep.
That's a line both of them used he uses and he used quite often. Take your country back, creating a perception that you've lost the country when you haven't.
Right.
The American white male is still the dominant group in the country. They're not the majority. The American white female is the majority, but the American white male is still the dominant majority of the country. They're in all the power structures. They own most of the wealth. They're very, very, very dominant, right? And then one of them called, Awake the Homeland, and the other one's Make America Great Again, right? Revival themes. So I force you to believe you're not the minority, and I'm going to give you a way to get it back. And I'm the only guy that can do it, right? There were some critical differences, right? One was very forward with their hatred of a certain group. The other one's a little more coy about it, and
he speaks out of both sides of his mouth.
Well, it's less him and more his people, and I frame that to politics changed a lot,
right?
In the 70 or so, 80, 90. Well, shit, we're about 90 years. The 90 years or so since this has happened before. Both of them are really, really good at using propaganda and mass communication.
Yep.
Right. 24/7. The propaganda machine was the greatest propaganda machine ever saw. And then Operation Paperclip brought all those people here. And Trump's administration, what we've been talking about throughout this, if now you see the state of what I was talking about, we have the Vogue cover girl. We have the Fox News girl. We have this girl. We have the only person we have that doesn't really talk a whole lot is Secretary of State. Right. We have the strong, powerful military leader. We have the smart
VA director that,
Right. It's all designed, right, for that propaganda machine, right? And then create these big spectacles, these big rallies of mass obedience. He's the president, he's still having rallies.
Parades.
Now we're gonna have a parade, right? He's doing this. He did this,
it's
right?
Not for it.
No.
What I will give Trump is he's a former TV star. Truly, that's a fact. The one thing he has.
That's about the one thing that he was. That I would say.
One thing he's done very well in his career is he is a god
brander
of doing the media thing, of doing the TV thing. So, and it's all like this, right? So they're both master propagandists, and they're built on a full right. The propaganda content's all lies, though, slogans.
Right.
It's all quarter truths, lies, and slogans. So when I say something on Twitter to a MAGA person, one of 4 responses are going to come. It doesn't matter what the topic is.
Yep.
One of 4 responses are going to come. What about George Floyd? We're talking about the Constitution and due process. The fuck do you mean, George Floyd? Right? Like, what about George Floyd? Right? Or what about when Biden circumvented the SCOTUS? Okay, we're talking about this other court, and Biden didn't circumvent SCOTUS. They said he couldn't do it, and he didn't do it. Because if he did do it, I wouldn't have student loans right now. So he didn't actually do it. But he's made you believe he did.
Yeah.
He's made you believe he did. But he didn't, right? So it doesn't matter whether the declaration is true or false. It just needs to be made.
Yep.
And it has been made, right? So
and they're given those tools readily.
Right. So the other country was under threat from the outsiders and actually the Marxists. They call them Marxists. America is now under threat by the outsiders and the Marxists. There's no difference. It's an exact parallel. Most of these MAGA people couldn't even define Marxism if I paid them. But it's by the Marxists, right? The big lie about election fraud.
Yeah.
Completely eroded all confidence in the democratic process. He had to push the fraud so that he could damage democracy, right? So far, somehow, the American democracy is still resilient. Thank God for the judicial right now.
Right.
Because that is where the resiliency is coming. But He has deeply polarized society and created an entire alternate belief system.
Yeah.
They are delusional because he has created their belief system for them.
Yep.
He has absolutely told you what to think, how to think, and what to say. I can go on our Twitter page right now and literally go through the replies, and 83% of the replies are the same exact thing.
Yep.
Well, one of four things, but the same exact thing. You're incapable of original thought because they haven't told you what to think.
Yeah.
You're incapable of coming up with any kind of critical logic because they've taken that from you, because they've made you believe that the smart people are the enemy.
And that the truth isn't true.
Right. Yeah. And then as soon as, like, Elon's gone, we've talked about that. You want to know one of the big reasons he's gone? Officially, because he's been gone. Like I said, he's been gone for, I'd say, about 5 to 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
Since Tesla's earnings call, he's more or less been gone. He's now officially gone because he came out against the big beautiful bill.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not paying him the way that he thought it was.
Well, it's not paying him the way that he wants, and it's also adding to the deficit, which you just put him in charge of. He got literally slaughtered for trying to reduce the deficit, and now you're going to add $4 trillion to it. So what the fuck did I do?
See, I don't think that that's like his line in the sand that got crossed. I think that's his talking point to justify why he's doing what he's doing in order to distance himself from a ship on fire.
Sure.
So I don't think that was his thing. Like, you know, just like free speech isn't really his thing. He just said it was, you know?
So then we do all of that, right? Now we get to here. This man completely discredited the media. Trump has completely discredited the media.
Mm-hmm.
This man eliminated the media.
Mm-hmm.
People stop right here and say, well, Trump hasn't eliminated the media. Yes, he has. The AP, Reuters, the taco lady, she got kicked out. She ain't allowed back no more. Anyone who stands against him gets thrown out.
Yep.
That's what this man did. Also, now with the attacks on the immigrants who spoke out using freedom of speech in America to say that they didn't like what the Israeli government was doing to the Palestinian people, that he threw them out of the country. Basically saying, if you have a protest like this, I will deport you.
Yep.
Eliminating the ability for people to rally, eliminating for the people to come together against them, right? He is slowly but surely silencing the media and not doing it openly enough where the law can step in.
Yeah,
he's doing it in a way,
and he's trying to erode the First Amendment by using those as case studies for how he can get away with it. So because they're not actual citizens, you know, they're not white men, he's using them as a case study to figure out how he can get away with silencing not just immigrants that are here trying to learn something, but everybody.
Right. So now we're at this point where we had a big fire. And we now know that fire was staged. It was the conspiracy theorists call a red flag event. Right? It was staged. And they used that to declare.
Is that what we're talking about?
Well, no, I don't think we've had it yet. I think it's coming soon. There's thoughts about the assassination attempt, but I think that was different. So this allowed martial law to be implemented. So I was in a conversation on our Twitter the other day where an African American said that this is a white people versus white people fight. We're going to stay out of this one. White people did this, they need to do this. And there was a foreigner, and I'm not sure where this person was from, that was like, I don't think you actually understand what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And they went back and forth for a little bit, and I jumped in and I was like, I understand what you're saying, and I don't necessarily blame you for your stance. However, I am white and I grew up with these people and understand that the brown ones are first. They're not the only, and you're next. And there's a saying starting on social media called black fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And they're putting videos of what we would call ghetto hood rats, right? What they call ghetto hood rats being fucking ratchet, right? And they're saying, oh, black fatigue, like, because the people are calling the cops. Now these videos are old. They're from like 4, 5, 6 years ago. And yeah, they called the cops on them. They're fucking throwing shit and breaking the restaurant. Like, of course they're calling the cops on them. Right. But they're now saying, see, it's black fatigue. White people are over it. Right. So they're starting to set the stage. Now, this is the social media doing it. But I've since learned that Trump ingests a lot of social media and starts to buy into it. So here's the, and I pointed this out, like you've seen black fatigue, you're seeing this being said. This is the foundation for you to be next. Be careful.
Yeah.
This person responded with, I understand and I feel you, but what you don't understand is Trump wants a whole bunch of black people in the street protesting because then he'll have the martial law he always wanted.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh fuck, you're right. Like, that's a solid ass. Okay, you cool, stay home. Don't do that. Because we have to make sure that he doesn't find a reason to declare martial law.
He's already talked about it. Like, openly talked about trying to be able to institute martial law. He's bounced that off of the DOJ.
Loophole to keep him in.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, very big. And then here's where a very big separation has happened. In the first scenario, the judges went with it. In this current scenario, the judges are not. Yeah, we don't get into that part either. The judges are not going with it. Also, in this scenario, the church is not going with it. Because on June 14th, during the parade, at the same exact time, the Pope's having a mass TV event where he's doing a live mass at 2:30 p.m.
How many are going to watch compared to the other?
Well, yeah, that's so the Pope has jokes, and he's an American, so I
kind of it you know, it's not about who has the biggest numbers; it's about who's taking away from eroding, you know, the system that you know Trump's trying to build by any time we're able to pull that people away from and actually get them to think or to reaffirm their beliefs that deviate from this deviant, then I think that we're winning, you know. And that's what the Pope is all about, is, you know, trying to stand up for what Christians are supposed to be, you know, and trying to reaffirm that in people. You know, that's one of the things that they've been trying to focus on when it came to modernization and getting people back in the pews, was trying to figure out how to get people to re-identify with their faith and not use it as a shield and sword to, you know, kill people.
And then there's actually this last one is really, really, really interesting reality. So the one out of paramilitary force. The other one doesn't per se. However, there's a very strong theory that some people are working on it. They're starting to connect the dots a little strong. That the ICE agents are actually very heavily inundated J6 pardoned prisoners.
I mean, that's fully possible.
Proud Boys, and that's why they're all wearing masks, right? Why they're all wearing masks, why they don't want to be identified. I don't often.
And a lot of them are fat too.
Outside of, you know, a lot are out of shape. A lot are also wearing jeans, things that law enforcement doesn't. Yeah,
Rounders
that's
shape.
Pear shaped. I got you. I'm pear shaped too. It's fine. But maybe we do have a paramilitary force.
I mean, I would call them our Brownshirts.
But I do know that there was a speech where he specifically told a militant Proud Boys to stand down and stand by. Now you may have made them ICE agents to go after the ones that are poisoning the blood, to go after this. And there's a big giant, which anyone with a brain has easily figured out what I'm talking about. I don't want to put it out there because it has been watered down.
And people,
you know, that's why they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what has been happening. They've rejected it because it's been overused. It's watered down, right? I'm just showing the parallels between the things that man did do and this man has done and is doing currently. Right. And I'm not saying that Trump is trying to be a Nazi. He's not. Nazis were their own thing. It was a sect of fascism. The Italians were fascists too. They weren't Nazis.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's not. And
neither were the Japanese.
I said there's been other fascist governments throughout history, and they weren't Nazis, but people lack the education to understand that Nazism was a certain breed of fascism.
Right.
But fascism has a playbook.
Yep.
And you can call it whatever you want. Nazism, I forget what the, you know, the Imperial Germans or Imperial Japanese called it, right? But the axis of evil were all fascist countries. That was the common bond. All of the playbooks were the same. Mussolini started it at that time, right? The Nazi salute is actually the Roman salute, which was actually inherited by Mussolini. They're all slightly different, which was actually originally the Roman legions, which were a fascist government before the Senate was created, because Rome, people don't understand Rome was around for a really long fucking time.
Right, yeah.
And it went through a lot of iterations of itself.
Yeah, I mean, the democratic, the democracy that we identify with them was very small.
Yes, the Caesar time that everybody knows about was a very limited time. For a very long time, they were absolutely a fascist imperialist. So we are absolutely positively walking down the fascist playbook. And it's the Stephen Millers and the Steve Bannons that are driving that playbook. And the influencers, the libs of TikTok, which is Chaya Reineck, who else is there? DC Drano. These are their Twitter handles, right? But they're the ones starting to push this other rhetoric. So I'm sure they're getting their talking points. They don't want people to know where it's coming from, but they're the ones starting to talk about black fatigue. And we're slowly but surely moving, right? The Proud Boys all got released, but the two leaders, like Enrique and the other one that you couldn't stop seeing, we haven't seen any of.
But there have been notations of Trump actually talking with them recently.
Right, because we're finding out that they're probably running ICE right now with the Vogue model.
Yeah.
Christy Noam. And I just think that I am ungodly excited that the judicial is standing up, because if that brick falls, I think we're fucked.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
if they
the
can
rule of law is
off,
the most important part.
They can hold off just through the midterms. I'm pretty sure the midterms are going to be landslide to impeachable reality. Or it's not, and MAGA has a much stronger hold than I actually think, and that's why I got my passport and I'm out.
Yeah.
Like that's what it comes down to, right? Like if we don't, I'm not saying we will take win, but if we don't fucking beat the shit out of them, then okay, the country wants they've convinced the white people that they're in danger.
Yeah.
And we're not. Right. We're not in danger by anything other than y'all. Y'all are the clear and present danger right now. That's it. And in reality, you always have been.
Yep.
You've been the most dangerous people in America have always been the white people. And that's all, the most successful people in America have always been the white people too. Both sides of the coin are the same group.
Yep.
So, and it's because not all people are made right, but if people don't, Republican congressmen have started to open their eyes. Republican senators have started to open their eyes. I don't think the big beautiful bill is going to get through, because there's now a lot of talk that in the big beautiful bill, they can't find his administration in contempt anymore.
Right.
And it's not all administrations. It's not in perpetuity. It has a sunset clause that it ends in 28. It's solely
well, that would be struck down,
because the judicial is standing up.
Right.
The playbook that they're using, that didn't happen, so they weren't prepared for it.
Right.
They thought that they appointed enough of the judicial, but what actually ended up happening that a lot of people don't realize is McConnell and Biden made a deal. And McConnell let Biden appoint all kinds of low-end federal judges and trade for it was somebody else not doing something Biden wanted to do. I think that Biden was intelligent enough at the time to know why it was really important for him to be allowed to do that. I don't think what anybody expected was.
Oh, was it him expanding the Supreme Court?
I
Because
think
that
it
was on the table.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
expand the Supreme Court, and I'll let you appoint all these
Yep.
federal judges, and I'll
Yeah.
push them through. Right.
Yep.
What nobody expected is most of the injunctions or the stops or the rulings against Trump, a majority of them have actually come from Republican appointed judges.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody saw that happening. The Trump administration, the Millers and the Bannons, they weren't ready for this.
No, well, because
thought,
they're blind to their own weakness, which is that some people actually did the work. Like they're there because they earned it, you know? And those people that actually earned it embody the things that actually make America great, which is they do what they're supposed to do.
Right. But in coming up with all of this, I knew most of this already, but in actually doing the research, pulling the sources, I did not use any media.
Mm-hmm.
I did not use any opinion. This is what did happen and what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Not what is happening, what might happen, there's a little speculation in me talking and us talking right now that's my personal speculation. Sure. Every fact I just laid out there, Hitler did in Germany, Trump has done in America.
Yep.
And this is happening. And I'm not saying that Trump is Hitler because he's not. Trump is Trump, but he wants to accomplish what Hitler did.
Yep.
Not World War III.
Yeah.
That's not what he's trying to do. He wants to be ultimate power. He doesn't want anyone to be allowed to question him. He doesn't want to be told no. He's a grown fucking child who doesn't want a bedtime and doesn't want to take a shower. And you're not going to tell him.
I think your old wine rep at former employer said it best. The guy that's from Italy, I believe.
From Germany.
From Germany?
No, you're right. He was from Italy.
I thought he was from Italy. Yep. Had said that during the first term, when a lot of this had started,
leading up to his election.
Yeah, that it was a step-by-step playbook of, and the whole there's a reason why they actually teach this in school out there again, is so it doesn't happen again.
And unfortunately, we're going to have to figure out how to one day hopefully teach this in school.
Man.
Because if it happens here, I don't know if the world's military is strong enough.
Well, so I don't
know if it is.
I don't think that we get that far. Honestly, I think
for the love of God, I hope not.
No, I think we'll implode. I mean, America's done. We'll implode, but I don't think that without an outside aggressor for him to throw stuff at, then it becomes an implosion instead.
I think ultimately at the end of the day, that's I saw the pivot on Putin recently.
Right.
We might go back to the old mortal enemy.
Right. Well, they tried to make China, but China's not playing by the rules that they were looking for. So
Xai's too smart for that.
Oh yeah.
Xai's educated. You know what they just found out? MAGA just found out. Xai's daughter went to Harvard. Man, they fucking hate her.
Of course.
So, but I want to leave it with this, right? I'm going to leave it with this. Colleges retain the right to remove degrees and take degrees away from people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of MAGA Republicans that went to Harvard. Fuck them. Take their degrees. Now they can't be lawyers anymore.
Yeah.
Because when they take, I looked at it, if they take the degree, the bar will disbar them because they do not have the.
Yep.
So very interesting stuff. I know Harvard won't be that petty. They'll just keep kicking the shit out of them in the fucking court system.
Yeah.
Because Harvard's got the best lawyers in the world. It's the best.
And I told you guys from onset, like these people are going to get paid.
You did.
By him trying to do this stuff to them. All of those lawyer offices that he tried to get removed, all of the colleges, they're all going to get paid by us, the taxpayer.
Right.
That kind of sucks, but at least there's justice.
That's the price of stopping American fascism.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So it was a really good episode, and I just want to let people know that we are following a fascist playbook here. And I'm not saying we're trying to be Nazi Germany, because we're not.
Yep.
And we're not trying to be fascist Italy. We're not trying to be imperial fascist Japan. And we're not trying to be fascist Rome. We're trying to be Trump fascists.
I think
And
at the end of it, in history books, could be known as Trumpism.
it's going to be known as Trumpism, right? It's going to be known as the dumb people got a voice. Social media gave all people equal footing, equal voice, and then they were conned.
That actually is being I mean it's being that's probably why he hates universities so much right now, is because that is actually a topic that is being dissected. You know, the whole COVID thing, the whole fake news bit for his first term, all of that is being dissected in university right now. It's because they're trying to figure out what's going to happen next. Because what we saw, like you said, with everybody getting equal voice, we saw dumb people became popular and smart people were deemed to,
Dumb people have always been popular.
Well,
Smart kids are never the popular kids in high school.
Yes, but people listened to them when they said stuff like, "Here's my homework." They they didn't they they didn't listen to the dumb kid because they knew he was dumb. They just thought he was cute
That's
and hot and
one
fun.
of my most common responses on Twitter to people is like, "Okay, let's stop. I'll stop calling you fucking stupid. Just tell me, were you known as a smart kid in high school or no?"
Yeah.
No one ever responds after that. They stop. Or we could be 30 responses in. And they stop. And the other most common one that I think this one's really funny, and I gotta leave it with it. A couple of people have come up, well, if you were so, sure of yourself and so blah, 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 you wouldn't use an AI generated picture and a fake name. And I'm like, you fucking moron. It's a podcast on YouTube. You can click the fucking button and see me. They don't respond after that either. Like, I couldn't have proved your stupidity any better than you just did. It's not a fake name. It's a fucking podcast. It says podcast. There's a link that says YouTube.
They're just not intelligent people.
No, because they're not intelligent people. That's my point. Oh. That's my honest to God point. So, but another good episode. We will have a capitalism episode coming very soon. Be ready for it. We said we would do it. We're gonna do it. We're also going to have a guest episode coming, and then sometime in the near future, I have a return to Shane, maybe another other guest. We got some people interested. We'll see what's going to go on there. Other than that, just remember that if you're watching this and you watch this regularly, you're one of the few voices in this country actually prepared to stand up against what's coming. And I'm not saying physically or violently. It's going to be needed. You're going to have to stand up against your MAGA family. You're going to have to stop it from happening. You're going to have to get them to understand that at the end of this road, there is no more America. That America, as we've all known it, is gone forever. And I don't want that to happen. And like I said, I don't mean violently. And I hope it really doesn't go that way. I'm just saying there's going to be, as long as the judiciary keeps going, you just have to convince your family that the laws are real and that the judges are upholding the law. That's it. If we can hold that line, we'll win this fight.
Then we can start to talk about bringing back knowledge and rationality to the conversation.
We have a very long road ahead of us. Yes. We're going to be old men before we see a semblance of anything we used to know. So AI might bring us there. We were talking about that before, right?
I think we'll get the Terminator first, but we didn't even give the AI the first law not to hurt humans. We just said stick with the truth. The truth is humans suck.
That's true. John Connor, we're looking for you, buddy. But all right, good stuff. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
Extended episode this week. I think we went a little over. Everybody have a wonderful week. We'll be back. Bluebird on your shoulder. Please like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, and stand up to your MAGA family member and let them know that the law is real and the judges are right and they're not activists. They're appointed by Republicans. We love you all. We'll see you later. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye now.
Leave a comment.
Take care.